traded my 9 to 5 to a 24/7.
Yeah, exactly. So you met a lot of other people as well.
Mhm.
So why am I and ZippyPaws your favorite? And why? You know?
She wants to. There's like toys out there. She wants to play with.
All right, let's go play.
Let's go play. Let's go play. Thank you.
Welcome back to Dog Mom Podcast. Today I have a very special guest who's come all this way to the studio to do a podcast with us. So we really appreciate that. This is Meagan from Snaggletooth, and
this is Cora, the original Snaggletooth, and she's very interested in the entire set.
The whole studio. She's like, "What's this?"
She's
place?
sniffing everything. Cora, come here. There you go. Here, why don't we show the audience?
There you go.
There's Cora.
Okay, show that camera.
Here, Cora, hey, look over there.
Look over there.
I wonder if we can get the little Snaggletooth.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Okay, and then we'll see if you'll sit over here. Cora, can you sit down? Good girl.
That's good girl.
That's a good girl.
Yeah, so, I can't even remember how we met. Do you remember?
I remember. Well, the thing is, I knew of ZippyPaws for a while because, like, Cora actually, her favorite toy from ZippyPaws is like the little mini unicorn. So I was very familiar with your brand, and I think it was either in like Asian Hustle Network on Facebook posts. I saw your post, and I saw your name, and then it was like founder and owner of ZippyPaws, and I think I cold DM'd you.
You know what? I posted on that. It's funny. It's a Facebook group.
Yes.
Like that just like shows you how old we are, right? Like
yes.
We're still active in Facebook groups. But I got a bunch of DMs from people who work in the pet space. So that's how I met Simon from Jibby.
Oh, okay.
It's from that post as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, and a few other people, and I met a couple of people who were like my accountability partners during COVID.
That's awesome.
So we still keep in touch here and there. So I think that may be it. Or if not, probably through, the whole network.
Yeah.
We've known each other. We've like talked on email for a little bit, kind of just like share our experience. And then we did a little call together, and I got to meet you in person. At Super Zoo this year.
Yeah.
So I wanted to invite you and talk a little bit more about Snaggletooth and like your journey so far, because it kind of really reminds me of the ZippyPaws journey in the beginning. Yeah.
So we actually we just turned 1. And I think what was really interesting about your journey and my journey was, we started it, we sort of bootstrapped it. And we wanted to like solve a problem for our own dogs. And I think that was really fun to be like, whoa, there's not only just like a great brand that's maybe many years ahead of me, but you've built like a team, a warehouse. You're also an Asian American female founder. So it was really heartwarming to see like someone so successful. And I was like, oh yeah, that's what I want to be.
Well,
I want to be you one day.
I'm like, oh my gosh, am I blushing?
Oh, yeah. I was just like, please tell me all your secrets.
I think you're kind of like on your way there, right? It's about the story, and you have a great story, Snaggletooth, and you were, I think the whole story is you wanted to find treats that were like small enough for your pets. And I feel like this is something that I've never really thought of before, because I've definitely cut treats smaller for my dogs too, and I've always had big dogs. So the size wasn't even an issue. It's just, they were too big, and I didn't feel like I need to give them like, 15 giant treats. Right.
So I adopted Cora during the pandemic, and she right now weighs about like 12 and a half pounds. But when I adopted her at 10 weeks, she was, I think, 4 pounds. And I felt like I wanted to train her. And she was extremely picky. So we only really liked freeze-dried single ingredient treats. And they're all really huge in the market. And I was using these like garden shears that I got from Daiso. And I was cutting up the treats. There's crumbs everywhere. It's sort of jagged and dusty.
Yes.
And I just had this like aha moment of why aren't there just smaller treats out there, especially freeze dried? And the more I did research and the more I talked to my friends who also had small like dogs, they're like, oh yeah, I think there's something here. And then I just sort of chased that thought. And then it took about 18 months of like R&D, finding the contract manufacturer, building the brand, deciding on the name Snaggletooth to finally launch. So that was a really fun journey, and it just sort of happened right around COVID time.
Yeah, and you worked at Google previously, didn't you?
I worked at a brand, and I did Google media buying.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
I feel like I've met so many people recently in the pet space that like used to work at Google.
Yes.
So I thought you were. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So my background is I'm a performance media buyer, like a performance marketer. So I started my professional career doing marketing. I worked at Match.com, which is really funny. And I did like all of their media, like digital media buying. So like.
So
Facebook,
all the ads that
Google,
Match was
Match, Tinder, Our Time, like every dating ad many years ago. That was me buying it. And then I switched to like a fashion brand called MeUndies. Yes, which was really I think important in my career because it was interesting to go from like a company like Match.com, which is 500 person team, to something that was much smaller. I think MeUndies at the time was 50 when I joined, and they just sort of hit their growth mark where they were trying to like double their revenue, and they needed a performance marketer. So I joined there, and then through miraculous growth, became their growth marketing director. And then I jumped to a brand called Billy, which got acquired. And then I was like, okay, I am making all these other founders lots of money. Maybe I should do it for myself. Yeah.
So were you still working at Billy when you found a Snaggletooth, or you had left already?
I had left. So it was really interesting because there was this like pivotal moment where Billy just got acquired, or just had the press, I think, release that they were going to be acquired. And I just didn't want to work in a big company like that. And I was interviewing for other companies, and it just didn't feel like it was the next right step for me. And I'd always wanted to become an entrepreneur. And I actually decided to quit my full-time job, also because I was really burnt out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
In the corporate world.
Yeah, exactly. Like really climbed in the corporate world, was working, up to 12-hour days and, making other people money. And then I decided like, okay, maybe I just like take a break. I think the pandemic really, for everyone, made everyone like pause and really reflect like what was important to them. And during that time, I actually had enough time to be at home, right? Because you're not working in an office. And then I adopted my dog. And so I quit corporate, and then I was consulting. I was like being a fractional head of growth. And then that's when I had my aha moment of like, oh, I'm training Cora. I need small treats. Why don't I start my own business?
Yeah. So you traded the 12-hour work days working in corporate to 12-hour days working for yourself.
Yes. I think there's like a funny little, I saw this on like a small business talk, but it was like I traded my 9 to 5 to a 24/7.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's really nice when you're your own boss. I will say that.
That is true. So I'm kind of like the opposite, where I never worked in corporate. I've always worked for myself. So I always wonder what it'd be like to work in a corporate, but I'm like, I know I probably wouldn't enjoy that as much, knowing all the perks of, working for yourself. I mean, it's hard, but you feel accomplished, even if, you didn't accomplish anything, but you feel like you really did something.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool because you just like created, like you just...
From nothing.
Yeah, you created from nothing, and I think that's actually really admirable. And then, you build a team around you, and you sort of listen and you grow as like a founder and CEO. Yeah. So that's really great to like go out and do that for yourself. So again, very like, you're very aspirational.
But then it's like when you fail, it's like all on you, and you can't blame anybody else.
Yeah, that's true.
You're like, oh, my boss.
Yeah.
And then go home and not thinking
Yeah,
about
not thinking
it.
about it. Yeah, you're like, I only have some skin in the game.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, so what part of like the, business are you in now? Like, you obviously have your product, and I've
Mhm.
tried your product, and my dogs really love it
Mhm.
as well. Like, where in the process are you? Are you thinking of going, like, expanding D2C, or are you thinking of going to retail?
Yeah. I would say I'm kind of still early stage because we're 1 year old. Um, we're selling through the first kind of product order. I'm placing my next product order. I'm kind of at this inflection point of like I was a one woman show for everything, and now there are certain parts of the business where I'm like I need help. We were just talking about this. Um, I pick and pack all my orders, and we went from 6 orders a week to now 50, and that's suddenly like 10 plus hours. So that's where I think I'm kind of at this early stage and just about to become in this growth stage. And frankly, we were growing both kind of like D2C and wholesale around the same time. And as the business grows and there's more brand awareness and, just kind of word of mouth, and one store picks me up and then another store sees that and picks me up, and same with just like customers. So yeah, I'd say I'm around this like beginning of growth stage.
Yeah.
Which is really really fascinating. And I think some people at this point either like go and raise money or they spend a bunch of money on marketing. I don't frankly know like what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna focus a little bit more on the D2C side for a little bit, and then you know whatever makes me the money and allows me to survive, that's probably what I'm going to focus on.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And sometimes, the market tells you what they want to
Yes.
see from you, right? It's not
Yes.
necessarily, oh, like, I want to get in Target, I want to get in, like, all
Right.
these stores.
Right.
Sometimes you chase that and it doesn't necessarily happen. And sometimes out of your own control because they're
Right.
not buying,
Uh-huh.
they're not bringing on new customers or
Yes.
new
Yes.
brands. So, just focus on where you're seeing results
Exactly.
and then
Yeah.
let the other opportunities come to you.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's also kind of this illusion of success where maybe you get into Target really quickly or Walmart really quickly, and you suddenly are like, oh my god, I'm like I have this huge Target account, and then next year they don't renew you, and you're like, oh shoot, like
Yeah.
So I like to say slow and painful is the way to go. And I read this book on CPG, which stands for consumer packaged goods, of just like the first how like 3 to 5 years of a brand is actually really important to grow by getting your product and understanding like the actual use cases and repeat rates of your product versus just like buying yourself into more doors. So
Right.
that was really interesting. So that's kind of the phase where I'm at of like, do people repeat? Like, what is good about my product? What do I need to improve? Before I'm just like, hey, I just want like a nationwide launch somewhere in like Target, something like Target. Yeah.
And sometimes when you go too big, you don't have the resources,
Yeah,
manpower. So it's good to get these smaller stores and kind of like get your feet wet and understand this type of business. So when you do get a larger store, you have the people, you have the operations,
Yeah.
and you have like the investment money as well.
Yes.
Because those larger companies, they always take like a 2%.
Yeah, they take 2%, or they don't. What is it? They're
A
net
slotting fee.
Yeah, slotting fees, or they're like net 90s. So like
Yes.
they don't pay you until 90 days later. You're like, oh, my cash flow is tight.
They say net 90, but then the day that the way that they write their invoices is like another
30 days, right?
It's pretty much net 120.
Yes, yes.
Um,
Which is tough.
Yeah. So.
I will say, like, shout out to independent pet stores. Because most of the time there's like independently owned by like a person who really cares about what they bring into the store, and a lot of the times they give me feedback of like, oh, this one, the reason we don't hold say like beef liver is because like there's so many brands of beef liver, or they're like, oh, your duck liver is really interesting, but because it's $1 more, it maybe moves a little less. But they actually give you that. They tell you those things, that feedback, which I don't imagine like a Target or something like that will tell you
Yeah.
those types of things. Yeah.
It's so funny that we're just like ragging on Target.
Yeah,
but
I
they're
know.
the customer behind
Yeah,
us.
that's true.
I'm like, no, we love you, Target.
We-
Okay. We just got a few more products into Target, so you'll see them soon, early next year.
Cool.
So they're giving us more space, which is awesome.
Oh yeah.
That means we're doing really well
Yeah.
in their stores.
I guess what's interesting is when you work with, say, a brand like Target, they're buying for, was it like many months in advance, right? And then they're
Yeah.
kind of looking at your historical performance many months before.
Yeah.
And like the timing is very different than like, say, I sell something on Fair and then that person like buys it and I just send it out.
That's just like immediate, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have the stock and then you're selling. But with like a larger customer who we work with maybe for a while and then we actually make like custom products or we kind of customize one of our existing products to a colorway that they really like. That's what we do with Target. We used to have this like alien UFO burrow.
Okay.
And they liked it, but they wanted to swap the orange for a yellow, and then we did that for a while. So we ordered custom for them. Yeah. But it's months ahead.
Yeah. The logistical side of things is very, very new to me.
Yeah.
So that probably takes a lot of planning that I will eventually need to
You
do that.
eventually get there. Yeah, but independent pet stores, we in the last year or two, we've kind of had like a renewed push into independent pet. I just did a episode with one of my sales team members where we talked about like what we're doing to kind of further that relationship because those are like the really strong relationships because at larger stores like the buyers come and go and not really based on their own volition, like the corporate will move them around, right? So one day you could have a great relationship with a buyer, but then next month you have someone come in from like electronics handling over pet, or they had pet reassigned into like home and gardening or something. So they don't necessarily I mean they do their best, but they don't necessarily understand the pet market. But the independent pet stores usually are just family owned for a long time.
For a long time.
Yeah. So they know they really know their stuff.
Yeah, and the person who's usually buying from you is the person who's like selling direct to the customer. So that feedback loop is so tight.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to ask about your product. How did you decide on liver?
Yes. So, liver was actually the only like meat and protein that could get cut up really small without turning into dust when it's freeze dried. And also it's like like most people know what liver is. Like I was exploring like heart and lung, which is maybe a little more unusual. So I went with liver just because it wouldn't crumble to dust, and then additionally it's like full of vitamins and minerals.
The good organ.
Yeah, exactly. The good organ meat. So that's what I started with. It was actually really like form factor because like we tried muscle meat because like Cora really likes like turkey breast or just like beef. And there's more R&D to be done. Like there's so much that I want to do with Snaggletooth, but it's actually just so hard to freeze dry things to that like small cut. But liver does a pretty good job at keeping its shape.
So do they freeze dry it and then cut it, or do they cut it and then freeze dry it in like a mold?
Yeah, that's a good question. So some places it actually depends on the manufacturer. So what we do is we get the liver and then we cut it, we dice it first, and then it's flash frozen and then it's freeze dried. Okay. There are some places that will kind of use like an extrusion where they like mix it all together. Sometimes they put like the mixed tisopherols or some other binders, and then they form it, they cut it, and it's kind of like you said, they freeze dry it and they cut it up. So we went with the single ingredient, like literally it's just like beef liver, duck liver, chicken liver. It's diced up and then freeze dried.
Okay, got it.
So that actually like this process and sort of this order of operations allows us not to use like a mixed tisopherol.
That was one of my questions. It's like that's the kind of preservative that I see on a lot of natural treats.
Yes.
So how come you can get away with not having
Yeah.
any?
Yeah. So from my understanding, a mixed disulfiram is just an antioxidant.
Yeah.
And
Like a vitamin E or
it's
something.
like a vitamin, yeah. I don't know if it's actually naturally created or like man-made, but it's an antioxidant. So antioxidants are really there just to make sure like fats don't go rancid.
Mm.
And this is the other thing with like choosing a high quality protein is that the fat level in livers is not, I think like when you get to the above 30%, like that's when stuff starts going rancid and you need to spray like antioxidants in it. So we chose a protein that was like lower than that, and then we don't actually have to spray that stuff. And then freeze dry is actually a really great form factor because it's one of the highest form of food preservation. I don't know if you like watch any doomsday preppers stuff.
I don't.
Okay, well I don't either, but apparently if you are a doomsday prepper, freeze dry is like the best method. Like
It probably preserves a lot of the flavor.
Yeah,
and the
it
nutrition.
preserves a lot of the flavor, and it can be easily rehydrated. And then if you store it correctly, you can store it for like up to 20 something years. So we have just like a very nice preserving method, and then we also source like really high quality human grade meats, and that's why we don't need to spray an antioxidant on it.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, for people who want like limited ingredients,
right?
This is like the way to go.
Yeah.
Because you don't even need the mixed. I can't say
Disulfiram.
Disulfiram. So that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then Snaggletooth, the name I'm assuming comes from Cora.
Yes. So when I adopted Cora, at around, I think it was like 2 or 3 months, she started to get this little underbite and then a little tooth here. Let's see if we can show the camera. Her little like under tooth, I think it's on the left side or here. Where's it on the right? I should know this. I'm your mom. It's this side, yeah, the left side. Started to stick out, and she has a little snaggle tooth. And when I was deciding the name for the company, I was working with a friend. He was a copywriter, and we were just, the brand's really built on my relationship with Cora and like me building a treat for her. And we were exploring different names. And then I think a lot of good ideas come in the bathroom when you're like in the shower.
100%.
I think I was taking a shower.
Where you don't have a pen and paper.
Yeah, exactly. I was like taking a shower, and I was like, oh, I should name it after the most lovable quirk of Cora, which is her Snaggletooth. So I named it Snaggletooth.
Yeah. Very cute. She's enjoying it.
She's enjoying it. She's looking out there.
Enjoying the studio.
Yeah. She's like walking all around.
Yeah, we gave her a little tour, and she was like super excited. Cute. And like as a founder, like what are some of your biggest challenges right now? Like in this specific time of your business.
Yeah.
Growing it.
Yeah. I think the biggest challenge, especially since I'm like a bootstrapped founder, is that a lot of things just take a lot of money. It's like, I remember reading somewhere, and I didn't think it would happen, but it definitely happened, is everything takes double the amount of time and double the amount of money. And I was like, no, I'm good. I have everything ship shape, and I'm going to be a good operator, and then, the world happens. And I think the other thing, which is just hard and unpredictable, and I think every small business, and I saw this, you were talking about it in another podcast, is just like the political and economic landscape sort of throws you all these curveballs. And like right when I launched the business last year, I was like, is this a good time to be giving away my stable job and dumping all this money to start a business? So I think that's the other thing is if we're thinking those things, like what are our customers thinking? Like, are they saving money? Are they not saving money? So yeah, I think there's just like a lot of stuff you can't predict, and that's definitely one of them.
Yeah, kind of like the unknown, because
Right.
I feel like when you're working at a company, well, I'm assuming, like the higher ups tell you kind of this is the direction we're going,
Right.
whether that's because of, research, or this is what, the CEO would like to see.
Yeah.
And then we're just kind of working towards that
Towards
goal.
that, yeah,
But
exactly.
then once type of leadership and direction is not there, then it's all up to us to figure out like what we want to do. And then sometimes I feel like for us, we in this type of the maturity in our business, we have a lot of opportunities, but then we're not sure which way to go.
Right.
Sometimes we're like, okay, do we even go into half price? Do we not do that? Do we spend our time in distributors and cultivating that relationship, or do we spend some more money to get our TikTok shop up and running? Which we're considering now. But I mean, I'm not a TikTok person.
Yeah, me either. Also, like, is TikTok gonna be around still?
Oh
like,
with the recent acquisition.
Yeah, right.
So,
like, will it change? There's a lot of unknowns.
A lot of unknowns, and then we only have so many people, and like you said, we're bootstrapped.
Yes.
The right word to say it. We don't take any like investor funding, so everything that we own goes back to the business.
Yes.
And we don't have any like daddy investors.
Yes.
To, like,
rich uncles.
To like send us some money.
Yeah.
So it is tough, right? You only have a limited amount, and then the last few years after COVID was like great for us for booming our business.
Yeah, the pet space. Everyone adopted dogs.
Yes.
And cats.
Yeah. And then after that, 2 years after that, it kind of slowed down.
Yeah.
And with a lot of other industries as well.
Right.
We're just lucky that we were in an industry that was not decimated by the pandemic.
Yes.
And we could actually, have a lot of money saved, and we did some cool things. But now we're kind of like back to basics, right? Back to the foundation, and then we just pulled it back to the studs and just like built the team again.
Yeah.
Smaller. So we're just kind of like not sure. Next year's our 15-year anniversary, so we're kind of thank you. So we're trying to see like what is our core focus, and I'll talk more about that probably in the next few months. But it's been a crazy ride, and then and then 15 years later, you think about like how much you've accomplished, and then how like far apart from where we were in the first like year, but like also so how close we were, because I don't necessarily feel any different.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where you're at.
Yeah. I think that's really interesting to hear, because I feel like I'm a one-person team and I'm like scrappy, and I maybe should get my calendar in check and all of that, but to hear you 15 years out say that you still feel like the same as the early days, I think just kind of shows that you're still operating like, not that it's a bad thing or anything, but like you're still operating in not abundance, but in like, you need to survive.
Yeah. We're very frugal.
Yeah, which is good.
We can make $1 stretch.
Yes.
Okay.
As you should. It's like very fascinating, because I've worked in these like big companies with these like large fat marketing budgets, and you're like, wow, that must be nice. But then some of these, I mean, okay, I'm gonna say a hot take here, but like, I mean, some of these like founders who are like 30 under 30, I remember I would read their brands, and I'm like, are half of them still here, right? Because like the idea is not like to grow really fast and make a bunch of money and maybe sell like that if that is your aspiration, then like go chase that. But I think my aspiration is similar to yours, where like I just want to build a sustainable brand and build a team and like just serve your customers, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's kind of like where I'm thinking I want to be at as well. That's also what I'm interested in too, because maybe it's just because I'm getting older, and I'm thinking about like just the future. And in my 20s, maybe I was really I had a lot of time to devote to the company. So it was like from when you wake up to when you go to sleep, it's all about growing the business, and it was like a fun time, because I founded the company when I was 21, so I had a ton of time in my early and mid 20s to really pour everything into it, and so that's like to grow the company like aggressively. And then once we got to kind of like a plateau after the pandemic, now it's about just like preserving our business and and like just like improving our relationship
Mm-hmm.
and just being here for the long haul. You know, I can never really predict what the future is like, but I just want to create a nice working environment for the employees that I do have.
Right.
And then, you know, we do want to expand, right? But I'm not trying to like throw money into that. So it's more about just making sure their relationships are all solid and then just go from there. Like I'm not trying to, you know, expand into like every nook and cranny of the pet space right now.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting because like when you start your business, there are some people whose aspirations are just like, I want to sell, you know, get acquired, IPO, all of that. And for you, it seems like it was really just to create a legacy brand, right? One that would stay for a while and one that you can have and be proud of and, you know, build something for you and your employees. And that's exactly what I want because, you know, I think the first super zoo I went to, there's these like, sometimes you see these like, they don't have like the most fancy booths or anything, but you're like, oh yeah, there's like a family run business for, you know, 50 plus years. I'm like, actually, that sounds great.
Yeah. that does sound good. I don't know if my kids would want to take this business. So, I mean, I'd be like, you know, training them and everything, and they want to do something else. They want to be like crypto bros or something. So hopefully they want to take over the business, and hopefully it's still there for them. But yeah, I mean, like in the beginning, I never really had I just like did a little video about this recently, but I was like, in the beginning, I didn't even have like goals for myself. Like I didn't even have sales goals. I just kind of started it and then did it and then kind of just put it out there and like hope for the best. And like luckily things went well for me. And then of course when I have employees, then I have to have like set goals that everybody has to reach and, you know, performance metrics. But in the beginning when it was just me, it was just work hard on it and then take what comes. Work hard and survive. Yeah, and I didn't even think about like selling or that's not, I mean, that's still not necessarily in my, you know, mindset even. So, but it's not like out of the question or anything. It's just that's not what I'm like hoping for, you know, because a lot of founders, they do try to make their numbers look good to sell, and that's what they're chasing. But I'm not. Maybe because I'm just not a numbers person. Like I don't even know what that is. Like I don't even know how to make it look good.
I mean, it's like fascinating because if the goal is to sell, it's just a whole different mindset, and it's just like.
Yeah, and you run the business a little bit
very differently.
Yeah. You have to really think about your long term, like your goal to sell, and then structure the business.
Structure the business, and as you said, you have to like make the numbers look good to a buyer. Which again, I don't 100% know what that is either. It's funny because like the last company I worked at sold, and it was very fascinating because like what I was used to in terms of like the world of acquisition and performance marketing was just like, oh, you have to hit this acquisition goal, like you have to acquire new customers at this cost, and you have to acquire X amount of them in this month. And like now my goal is like, okay, I have to like sell through products because my stuff expires eventually, and I need to, you know, just get in front of new customers. But it's just like the goals are completely different for me now.
I feel like if you think about it though, every business is just about acquiring customers.
That's true. You
know, so I feel like that background probably helps you a lot on like how to market and how to brand your products. It
was funny because as I was like creating Snaggletooth, and there's this podcast, I think it's called Startup, by it's like Ira Glass, I think is the guy's name, and in one of his episodes, he was like talking to an investor, and the investor was like, "What is your unfair advantage?" And I think your unfair advantage is maybe like your dad's relationship with like the manufacturers and like building like many years of that, like just like that relationships that you have.
100%.
Yeah, and for me, my unfair advantage is that I have a performance marketing background, so I know like what is the best way to like spend money. And when I was in consulting, there was a lot of times where some of these smaller brands would come up to me and they're like, "Oh, I have like $5,000. Like, I want to spend it on ads," and I would literally tell them like, "Don't spend it on ads. Like, you will burn that money so fast." And that's like, again, another hot take coming in. I think like
this is the hot take podcast.
hot take podcast, hot take camera. Look straight in the camera. Meta or Facebook now. Wait, Meta now. Meta ads like work really well for some people, and then for other people, they sort of sell this like idea of we can grow your business, right? And all you need to do is just plug it into this AI. It's gonna choose everything for you, and you're gonna make money. And then there's all these small businesses that are like, great, we're gonna like throw money at this. And as a performance marketer, I'm like, that is the number one way to burn money is to listen to them and do exactly what they say. So it's not that formulaic. That's, I think, the thing that's really interesting about growth is that whatever I do to grow is maybe not the way that you need to grow. And I think that's like presents a very fun and interesting challenge, like growing your brand.
Yeah. And what I'll add to that, it's like what you're using to grow right now is might not be what you're gonna use to grow in like 3 years.
Yeah, every stage is different, right? It's fascinating because like everyone tells me that the 0 to 1 is really hard because you don't have a lot of resources, and you're just figuring all of this stuff out. And there's like I think the stage of like 0 to 0.1, then 0.1 to 0.5, then 0.5 to 1 even, right?
And when you're talking about 1, it's like 1 million, right?
Yeah, like 1 million, or even like I don't know, even 100,000, right? It's just like I have
You're
to.
1.
Whatever like a 1 is very very hard, and for me, like I was, one of these high growth startups where literally you have like really fat marketing budget, and you're like, yeah, I spend $5,000 on ads a day. And now I'm like, I don't even have $5,000 of ads budget to spend in like 2 months, right? So you have to really decide like how you're gonna use your money and grow.
Yeah, because you're trying to get people from 100 to like 200.
Yeah.
And now you're trying to get from like 1 to 2.
Yeah. So that posed whole different thing. So like small businesses really, like there's usually somebody out there who's crying themselves to sleep.
I'm like, it's me.
Yes, it's both of us.
And so thinking about where you are right now, who do you think your biggest competitors are? Are you kind of trying to break it into like the vast, like, treat world, or are you kind of, trying to get into stores, or are you trying to use your story to kind of get to people on a personal to personal level?
Yeah, I think the competition right now is, so to be completely honest, my product is not revolutionary, right? It's just a freeze-dried single ingredient treat. It's not like
a lot of treats are not revolutionary
That's
products.
True. That's true.
You just take a little bit that's differentiating and you're trying to make that into something.
So like my main differentiator is really my size and maybe the quality. So, you have to build a brand moat. And like for me, that brand moat is the brand. It's the story of me and Cora. It's this really fun kind of like comic book anime like packaging. It's also just making sure that people know why I started this brand, right? It was to solve a problem for my dog. And also like my brother's cat really likes to eat these treats too, right? So like really just, yeah. So the thing that keeps me up at night is that like maybe one day, I don't know, like a big brand like Stella and Chewy is like, oh, look at this small brand that's like kind of making waves. I'm gonna make the exact product. So that's the thing that keeps me up at night. I think what is interesting about freeze dry is like most of the contract manufacturers I talk to, there is like a minimum order quantity that's pretty high. So I'm not as afraid of like another small brand copying me, but a big brand can probably have the time and the resources to copy me. So I'm really trying to build that brand moat of like, I have this cool story, I have these like nice punchy colors, I have this really cool kind of like visual identity. and also like just trying to tell the story of like, oh, this is our brand values and this is like what Snaggletooth stands for.
Yeah, like you're trying to spend the time and energy to make the customers know that this
Yeah.
is you. So when a big treat company does make it, they'll know, oh, it's something that Snaggletooth already
Yeah.
is doing.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
some people will buy that,
Right.
most likely, but in the consumer's mind, you're hoping that they say, oh, this is Snaggletooth. They're ripping off Snaggletooth.
Yeah, exactly. Like I want to be the original and they're copying me. And yeah, like that's the other thing is like my price point is pretty high per ounce, and there's a story that I tell with it is because like it is a premium sourced quality, human grade, but on top of that, like a big company can cut me on price and also offer the same quality, but I hope people who buy our treats and the way they utilize the treats really kind of give them like a good memory and sort of like this brand affinity, so they're like, oh, I keep going back to Snaggletooth because this is what Snaggletooth stands for.
Like I'll pay a few more dollars
Exactly.
because I like the brand.
Yeah, exactly. So
and I feel like that's why I kind of started a podcast too, to just like talk about like ZippyPaws and then invite people like you to come talk about it, because I feel like the more that people know us and know our brand and how we operate, they like trust us to do the right thing for their dog, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure these large companies also care very much about the pets, but for us, it's like we have more to risk,
right? a lot more to
risk. So but also we're not beholden to any investors,
right?
So there's I always joke like, can you imagine like somebody telling me what to do? Like, no. I make all the decisions, okay?
I call the shots.
So, we try to do what's best for us and also the pets that we service. And, when they're buying from us, they're actually just supporting us.
Right.
And our team.
Yes.
You and Cora.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like me and my 22 employees.
Yeah.
That's going directly into our pockets.
Yes.
Then we can do fun things. We can do like community events.
Right.
Or we can,
yeah.
do something
You host quite a lot of community events.
We try to,
Yeah. And you're trying to do more, I see, as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've been doing a lot of like bigger events because we do sponsor the LAFC, the football club.
Oh, that's cool.
And then prior to that, we did sponsor the LA Kings, the hockey club.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
So we've kind of been big in like the sports world, but now we're also trying to do more local events. Like we do our sample sale 2 times a year.
I see that.
And then, like earlier this summer we just did like a night market one.
Oh, that's cool.
So,
okay.
So it's like a little more chill because sample sales is kind of hectic.
Right.
People
like trying to grab stuff.
Yeah, so because we have low prices for the sample sales. So this summer we kind of did a nighttime one, so not as hot.
Yeah.
Usually we can't do a sample sale in the summer because it's
so hot
out here. But even if we started at like 5 p.m., it was still pretty hot. So we'll try to do something different next year. But yeah, we're trying to do a lot more local events, and we're gonna do Corey Beach Day. This weekend. Well, when the podcast comes out, it'll have been last weekend. But so we just try to show up for our community. Yeah. And some of the independent chains in the area, we do show up. Like I think 2 weeks ago, we showed up to Anaheim Feed. They had an event. Yeah. I'm actually going to interview her, Sarah from Anaheim Feed. So.
Yeah, I know. I just got into Anaheim Feed.
Oh,
they've been on my list to get into, and I just got in there. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So we're just trying to support our customers and also kind of our distributors like BCI or Bradley Caldwell on the East Coast. We try to make those as well. And go to the like Mud Bay. They had a mud. I can't remember the name of their event. Mud something. Up in Seattle and Oregon. So my team went up there to support. Just to create those relationships. And know that we're a small we're not small, but we run our business like a small business mindset.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
where we dream big, but we're very frugal.
Yeah. I think the community aspect is so strong because when I started, I knew that I could not spend money on ads. So I was like really trying to show up to like some farmers markets and dog events. I actually ended up not going to like some local farmers markets. I primarily try to focus on dog specific events.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to get into Corgi Beach Day, but they're so popular, like their vendor list gets filled up. But I did SoCal Wiener Fest.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you guys were there too. Yeah. And I'm doing their Halloween event this weekend, or whenever this podcast. But I'm going to do their Halloween event. And then I did some other smaller like dog focused events. And what's interesting is that there have been people who come back and be like, oh, I saw you at this other event, or I really liked, the treats, at this other event, we want to come up and like support you again and like either replenish or they bring their friends, which is awesome. But what I love about these events is, I'm able to sample.
Yeah.
And the best thing is when someone says, oh, my dog is picky. And I'm like, mine is too.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's why you should try one. And when their picky dog eats my treat and their eyes just go, they're like, oh, okay. And then they buy the treat. So that's actually a really fun, like, sales pipeline.
Yeah, that's kind of like a question I wanted to ask you is like, what are some like heartwarming things that you've seen since starting the company?
Yeah. I think like interacting with the customers and their feedback. But there's this one specific one that comes to mind is there's this customer, her cat's name is Luna. And I guess Luna needed to take some of her teeth out. And after that, just like couldn't eat food as well. So she ended up finding my treat somehow. I actually don't know how she discovered us as a brand, but she actually messaged me and was like, my cat loves the texture. It's like nice and soft. She eats it all up. And she sprinkles some of our treats on top of her like cat's kibble, and she says she like finally eats all the food. So that's like really heartwarming. It's like, oh, I solved the problem for my own dog, but it's nice to know that this problem is a common one, and I can solve it for other people.
Yeah. And somebody's life is improved because they were product.
Yeah.
I think those are always the most heartwarming messages that we see too. And whenever we get something like that, we always share it in our Slack channel so everyone can see and kind of celebrate, what we've done and you don't really think like a treat or a toy could really bring a lot of joy to people, but some people really appreciate what we do.
Yeah. I think pets bring so much joy to us. I think having a pet really reminds you what's important and, makes you take a step back and being able to strengthen that bond and kind of give them, being your pets, something important and special is like why we do what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, you think philosophically, it's like, why are we even on this earth? If not to like just take care of the people or the things or the animals that we care about and try to leave the world a little better place for somebody else.
Yeah.
So, it's important to keep that in mind when you get into like the weeds of things and you're anxious about like the state of the business. But, at the end of the day, if you're leaving the world a little bit better, like I feel like I've already done, what I wanted to do. So, speaking of like the pet industry, like how are you enjoying the pet space versus like, the corporate world?
Yeah. I love the pet space because I think at its core, everyone just wants the best for their pets. And, pets bring us so much joy and value into our lives. I came from tech / like fashion and beauty, and there are interesting things that come with those industries, and they were very fascinating. But there were times where I was like a performance marketer, and they're like, "You must hit this sales goal, otherwise it felt like this. They didn't actually say this, but they're like, if you don't hit the sales goal, like you're not good at your job or something like that. You're like,
I'm sure that happens all the time.
And then you feel bad about yourself. Whereas here, it's like at the end of the day, if I made good decisions about my business to take care of my employees, and make good decisions to provide the best products for our animals, then that actually brings me a lot of joy. And I remember I had so much anxiety just like working in corporate. And then I was like talking to my therapist about this, and I also had a work coach. And once I actually moved away from it, like a lot of that kind of just disappeared. And yeah, like as you said, like the like what is your purpose on this world? And if it's to better the lives of animals that you really care about, it's just like so much easier to do what you do and wake up and say, oh my god, I love doing what I do and running this business that is like its sole purpose is just to better the lives of pets.
Yeah,
right?
no, it's really nice, and I always say like I love the pet industry. It's the only industry I've ever been in, so
Good
I
one.
like it. And sometimes it's funny because you go to like a show and you can see the type of people at the show, and they're this person is in it because they love pets, and this person is in it because they're just here for the time being. So it is kind of funny to kind of just like suss these people out, and you're like, okay, I know your type. I'm like, and at Super Zoo, so you met a lot of other people as well. So why am I and ZippyPaws your favorite, and why?
Yes, ZippyPaws. Not only you're my favorite because you are Cora's favorite toys, and I'm not lying because Cora's actually not really a huge toy person.
Yeah, you've told me that.
Yeah, she's more treat motivated, but her favorite toy is this like unicorn that I got from ages ago. That's a ZippyPaws one, and then the stuffing-less like raccoon-looking thing.
Okay,
yeah, exactly. She loves those, and honestly, those are like the three toys she plays. But I think it's just really nice because you have made an effort to help like companies like me just kind of spread the word, and also you were just so kind to like responding to me. Like there have been some people that I've reached out to, they're like, hey, I'm first time getting into the pet space, I have a few questions, and it's just like dead silence. Which I get because there's a lot of stuff to do when you're
you
a founder.
probably caught me at a good time because maybe I'm like dead silence.
No, but I think on top of that, like in the beginning of our session, we were talking about like it's really nice to see a like AAPI female founder who's built this brand, almost 15 years into the business, and know and see myself in you and almost aspire to create what you've created in my own way is really aspirational. And also you're just really nice, and you've let me talk to your team and you answered questions for me. And you also invited me on this podcast. So that's just like really just great to network in that way. And
it is fun to just like get to know each other on a more personal level. I'm like, I need more guests, so that's the only reason why.
But I'm sure you know this, like founder route can sometimes feel a little lonely. And talking to another founder, you're like, oh, I know what you're going through. Is nice to know, like, oh, okay, like you've been where I've been, and like help me out.
And like even if I didn't necessarily help you in any way, at least we feel like connected, that we have people who support us in similar roles. Because the advice that I would give, I mean, I don't know what advice I can give, because when I started, like Amazon's so much different, and like getting into retail is so different. Like I don't know if I can give any advice, but if anything I can give, it's like, hey, I'm here, right? Like we are all in it together. And I think about, when I was starting, and I did reach out to a few people, and they never responded to me either. So I never got anything from other people. I mean, my dad has also been in the industry for a long time. So like the people that he knew, I talked to and everything. So I kind of get an understanding of the industry that way, but nothing from like the other brands that I admire at the time. So, and even now, like sometimes I reach out, there's like I'm like,
that's fine. Yeah.
Everybody's busy, so
everyone's busy.
I don't hold it against them or anything. But so now I try to be, where I can, to be like a resource.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's good because, like, you know, you could make the decision not to invite us or use your free time to create like a podcast to like elevate other people's voices. So it's like cool that you decided to actually create something like this.
Yeah, I mean, I always say, like, I'm just doing the podcast so I can improve my public speaking, because I think after kids, my brain just like is so fried that.
Well, you're
like,
doing great.
Yeah, well, that's because people like you come on to the podcast and talk to me, you know? Because otherwise, I'm just in like toddler mode, and I'm just like, you know, I don't talk to an adult for many days, so this helps me get back into the real world, so it's nice. And then, what is your goal for like the next 6 months to a year, kind of the foreseeable future?
For the foreseeable future, I think my, you know, foreseeable future goal is really just to survive. I think it's a tough economic time for everybody, but also continue to grow. I am going to be launching a new flavor soon.
Oh,
in December if all of that stuff works out. And I'm making these big shifts in my business in terms of like growth. So I do all the pick and pack at the moment. So now I'm moving into a third-party logistics warehouse. They're going to help me fulfill and pick and pack the orders. And I actually just hired my first freelancer. She's going to help me out with social media.
Awesome.
So I think it's just, you know, as I said, slow and painful, growth and survival, but just to reach more people and, you know, take it 1 year at a time. And yeah, my goal really is to like launch a new flavor every year. And, you know, get enough money to do that.
Yeah.
So that requires growth and like selling through your product. So
Slow and painful growth, but
surviving and growing and doing well. Yeah.
Growth and survival. So I like that. So thank you so much for coming onto the show. Thank you, Cora, for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Lending us your mom for like an hour.
Yeah. She's like, I think I'm ready to go.
I think
she wants to actually no. She wants to play with the toys out there. That's
like,
what she
the
wants.
newness is worn off.
No. She wants to. There's like toys out there. She wants to play with.
All right, let's go play.
Let's go play.